The moment you set your first real boundary with a toxic person, something predictable happens. They don't respect it. They don't accept it. They do something so calculated, so rehearsed, that you'd think they all read from the same script. And if you don't know what's coming, you'll fall for it. You'll apologize. You'll backtrack. You'll convince yourself that maybe you were too harsh. Maybe you should give them another chance. But here's what you need to understand. Their reaction isn't personal. It's strategic. It's a test. And the moment you recognize it for what it is, they lose all their power. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly what toxic people do when you set boundaries, why they do it, and how to stand firm without guilt. Let's start with what this reaction looks like when it happens. Here's what happens. You set a boundary. Maybe you said no to a favor. Maybe you told them you're not available. Maybe you simply didn't respond to their manipulation the way you used to. And they do this. They make you the villain in their story. Suddenly, you're the one who's cruel. You're the one who's changed. You're the one who's being unreasonable, selfish, cold, dramatic. It sounds like this. I can't believe you're treating me this way. After everything I've done for you, you've really changed. You're not the person I thought you were. Wow, I guess I know where I stand now. You're being so dramatic. I was just trying to help. Fine, I'll just never ask you for anything again. Every single one of these statements has the same goal: to make you feel so guilty, so uncomfortable, so afraid of being the bad guy that you drop your boundary and go back to being controllable. This is called DARVO: deny, attack, reverse victim, and offender. They deny they did anything wrong. They attack your character. And they flip the script so that suddenly they're the victim and you're the aggressor. And it works. It works on most people, most of the time, because decent people don't want to hurt others. Decent people feel guilty when someone accuses them of being cruel. So decent people apologize and give in. But here's what you need to understand. Toxic people are counting on your decency. They're weaponizing your empathy against you. Let's talk about what's actually happening psychologically when a toxic person reacts this way to your boundary. Toxic people, especially narcissists and manipulators, view relationships through a lens of control. You're not a person to them. You're a resource. You provide something: attention, validation, money, service, emotional labor. When you set a boundary, you're cutting off their supply. And they panic, not because they care about you, but because they're losing access to what you provide. So they do the one thing that's always worked before. They make you feel like you're the problem. Dr. Ramani Durvasula, a clinical psychologist who specializes in narcissistic behavior, calls this boundary punishment. The toxic person punishes you for setting a boundary by making you feel so bad about it that you'll never do it again. And here's the calculated part. They're not just trying to get you to drop this specific boundary. They're training you not to set boundaries in the future. They're conditioning you to associate boundary setting with guilt, conflict, and being the bad guy. If they succeed, you become easier to control long-term. There's another layer to this. When you were compliant, when you had no boundaries, the toxic person could maintain their self-image. They could tell themselves they're a good person, they're reasonable, they're not controlling. But the moment you set a boundary, you're holding up a mirror. You're showing them that their behavior requires you to protect yourself from them. And instead of looking in that mirror and reflecting, they smash it. They attack you for daring to suggest they're the problem. This is why you'll hear things like you're too sensitive or you're overreacting. They're not describing your behavior. They're trying to rewrite reality so they can stay comfortable with their self-image. Let me break down the specific tactics toxic people use when you set boundaries, so you can recognize them in real time. Tactics 1. The guilt trip. After everything I've done for you, this is how you repay me. They're weaponizing past kindness. They're framing your boundary as ingratitude. The goal is to make you feel like you owe them compliance. Let me tell you about Sandra, 49 years old. Her mother had used guilt trips her entire life. Sandra finally told her mother she wasn't coming over every Sunday anymore. She needed her weekends. Her mother said, "I sacrificed everything to raise you, and now you can't even give me one day a week?" Old Sandra would have crumbled, would have apologized, would have shown up every Sunday feeling resentful but guilty. New Sandra recognized the tactic. She said, "I love you, and I'm not discussing this." And she held firm. Her mother didn't speak to her for 3 weeks. Sandra told me those 3 weeks were the hardest of her life. She almost broke, but she didn't. And when her mother finally called, the guilt trips had stopped because they no longer worked. Tactics 2. The victim flip. I guess I'm just a terrible person then. Fine, I won't bother you anymore since I'm such a burden. They're forcing you into the position of comforting them and reassuring them that they're not the problem, which means you end up apologizing for your boundary. I worked with a woman named Jessica, 52, who had a friend that used this tactic constantly. Every time Jessica said no to something, her friend would say, "I understand. I know I ask too much. I'm sorry I'm such a burden." And Jessica would immediately backtrack. No, you're not a burden. I can actually make it work." One day, Jessica tried something different. Her friend said, "I guess I'm just too needy for you." And Jessica said, "I'm sorry you feel that way," and didn't take the bait. Her friend escalated, tried it 3 more times in the same conversation. Jessica repeated, "I'm sorry you feel that way," and changed the subject. The friendship shifted. Her friend stopped using that tactic because it stopped working. Tactics 3. The gaslighting. You're overreacting. That never happened. You're remembering it wrong. You're being too sensitive. They're trying to make you question your own perception of reality. If they can convince you that you're the problem, you'll stop trusting your own judgment. And if you don't trust your own judgment, you can't set boundaries. Let me tell you about Maria, 48, who had a sister that gaslighted her constantly. Maria would bring up something her sister did, and her sister would say, "That's not what happened. You always twist things." For years, Maria would second-guess herself. Maybe she was remembering wrong. Maybe she was being too sensitive. Then Maria started documenting things, writing down what happened. And she realized she wasn't crazy. Her sister was rewriting history. The next time her sister said, "That never happened," Maria said, "I'm not discussing this," and walked away. Her sister tried to pull her back into the argument. Maria refused, and eventually, her sister stopped trying to gaslight her because there was no longer an audience for it. Tactics 4. The smear campaign. This is the nuclear option. When you won't back down, the toxic person starts telling other people that you're the problem. They'll go to mutual friends, family members, anyone who will listen, and paint you as unreasonable, cruel, crazy. They're trying to isolate you and recruit allies. I worked with a woman named Patricia, 51, who set a boundary with her brother. She told him she was no longer lending him money. He went to their entire family and told them Patricia had changed, that she was cold now, that she'd turned her back on family. Patricia told me she got calls from 3 different relatives asking what was wrong, why she was being so harsh. Old Patricia would have caved under that pressure, would have given her brother money just to stop the family drama. New Patricia said to each relative, I'm not discussing my financial decisions. If he told you something different, that's between you and him. She refused to defend herself, refused to engage in the drama, and within a month, the family dropped it because Patricia wouldn't give them anything to work with. So what do you actually do when a toxic person reacts this way to your boundary? Here's your strategy. Step 1. Expect it the moment you set a boundary. Expect the toxic person to escalate. Expect guilt trips. Expect victim flipping. Expect gaslighting. When you're prepared for it, you're less likely to fall for it. Step 2. Don't defend. This is the hardest part. When someone accuses you of being cruel or unreasonable, every instinct you have will tell you to defend yourself, to explain, to prove you're not the bad guy. Don't. The moment you defend, you've entered their game. And in their game, they control the narrative. Instead, use one of these responses. I'm sorry you feel that way. I understand you're upset. I'm not discussing this. Notice what these responses do. They acknowledge without agreeing. They don't defend. They don't explain. They just hold the boundary. Step 3. Hold the line. The toxic person will escalate. They'll try multiple tactics. Guilt, then victim flipping, then anger, then gaslighting. They're cycling through their playbook to see what works. Your job is to be boring. Repeat the same response. I'm not discussing this, over and over. Eventually, they'll realize the old tactics don't work anymore, and they'll either adjust or remove themselves from your life. Let me tell you what happened with a client named Rebecca, 50 years old. She had a toxic friend who always called her with emergencies that required Rebecca to drop everything. Rebecca finally said, I can't keep doing this. I need advance notice if you need something. Her friend said, wow, so you're just going to abandon me when I need you. Rebecca said, I'm not abandoning you. I'm setting a boundary. But what if it's a real emergency? Then you'll handle it like adults do when their friends aren't available. Her friend escalated. You've really changed. You used to be such a caring person. And Rebecca said, I'm not discussing this. Her friend tried for more times in that conversation. Rebecca repeated, I'm not discussing this. The friendship ended. And Rebecca told me, I realized it was never a friendship. It was just me being on call for her drama, and I don't miss it. Step 4. Let them leave. This is the part that scares people the most. What if they end the relationship? Let them. If someone only values you when you have no boundaries, they don't value you. They value access to you. Some toxic people will remove themselves when they realize they can't control you anymore. And that's not a loss. That's a filter working exactly as it should. Here's what you need to know about what happens after you stand firm through a toxic person's boundary punishment. Option 1. They adjust. Some toxic people, when they realize their tactics don't work anymore, will actually adjust. Not because they've had some deep revelation about their behavior, but because they've learned you're no longer controllable through guilt and manipulation. The relationship will be different, less close, maybe, more transactional, but healthier because it's based on mutual respect instead of your compliance. Option 2. They cycle. Some toxic people will back off temporarily, then try again weeks or months later. They're testing to see if your boundary was a fluke or if it's permanent. Your job is to be consistent. Every time they test, you hold the line. Eventually, they learn. Option 3. They leave. Some toxic people will cut you off completely. They'll frame it as you pushing them away. But what really happened is they removed themselves because they couldn't control you. And this is where you need to be very clear with yourself. Someone leaving because you have boundaries is not rejection. It's liberation. Let me tell you about Helen, 53, who set boundaries with her entire family. She told them she wasn't hosting holidays anymore. She wasn't available for last-minute demands, and she wasn't participating in drama. 3 family members stopped speaking to her. She told me she cried for weeks, felt like she'd destroyed her family. But 6 months later, she said something that stuck with me. I didn't destroy my family. I just stopped pretending a dysfunctional dynamic was love. And the people who actually loved me adjusted. The people who just wanted to use me left. The people who stayed in her life respected her boundaries. The relationships were healthier, and Helen had peace for the first time in decades. The grief you're going to grieve, even when you know the relationship was toxic, even when you know you did the right thing, you're going to grieve the loss of what you hoped it could be. That grief is valid, feel it, process it, but don't let it convince you to drop your boundaries. Because what you're grieving isn't the actual relationship. You're grieving the fantasy of what you thought it was. And sometimes, the healthiest thing you can do is let that fantasy die. Here's what you need to remember when toxic people punish you for setting boundaries. Their reaction is not about you. It's about them losing control. Your boundary is not cruel. It's self-respect. You don't owe anyone access to you at the cost of your peace. Guilt is not the same as wrongdoing. You can feel guilty and still be doing the right thing. And most importantly, the people who respect you won't punish you for having boundaries. The people who punish you are revealing that they never respected you to begin with. That's painful to accept, but it's also freeing, because once you see it, you can't unsee it. And once you can't unsee it, you stop accepting behavior that you would have tolerated before. Here's your challenge for this week. Set one boundary with someone who's used to you having none. And when they react, when they guilt trip or victim flip or gaslight, recognize it for what it is, a test. Don't defend, don't explain, just hold the line. It's going to be uncomfortable. They're going to escalate. You're going to feel guilty. That's normal. That's not a sign you did something wrong. That's a sign you did something different. And different is always uncomfortable before it's liberating. Write down what happens. Notice the tactics they use. Notice how you feel. Notice whether they adjust or leave. Because you're gathering data about who actually respects you and who just wants control. What's the most common reaction you get when you set boundaries? Drop it in the comments. And if you want to know the exact words that make a narcissist leave you alone, hit subscribe. Next video is about the one sentence that makes toxic people stop targeting you.